This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
Oh my God!
Welcome to episode 6 of the DocNJock Wrestling Podcast of Incredible Excellentness. I am your host, the Jock, and rolling with me, as always, is the Doc. What's going on, John?
6 episodes already, my goodness.
I know, man. We just turn on the mics and it happens, man. It's magic.
At the time this drops, I will have the purchase that I made. I dropped the hammer.
You did?
I bought them.
Shut up!
I had to because the prices were so great. There was a big discount, free shipping. 2 more championship belts will come into my possession.
Oh my God,
the
that's
next
awesome.
recording, I mean, how do I not buy a tag team belt with 2 Spartans on it?
Right.
Literally,
Right.
I had to get that one. And of course, I feel like, a WWE championship also has to be in this office.
Did you get the blue or did you get the red strap?
I think I got the blue strap.
Oh,
I'm not
no.
sure. It's okay.
Michigan colors?
It's okay.
What?
The 2 Spartans are the symbol. That's
Okay.
most important to
All
me.
right. All right.
I had to, man. They were giving like 60% off, free shipping, another 25% off with the promo code. So for the price that I paid for the one WCW belt, I got 2 belts. I had to do it.
That's awesome, man.
Cyber Monday, you got to drop some money,
I
right?
totally would have wanted to do it, but I'm poor, so I couldn't do it.
The
But
good
that's
thing is,
awesome, dude.
in the last year, any big purchases I've made, I've run by Adam. And Adam is diplomatic. He's like, sure, if you want it, go get it. Like, you're probably thinking, like, why the fuck is he asking me?
I don't understand. I mean, look, you're a big boy.
Yeah.
You're growing. You work hard. I know everything you do for this podcast. You work hard, man. You deserve to treat yourself now and again.
Exactly, and that's
So
what I did.
I get it.
And so typically it's kind of like the last line of defense. So if you know I sent it, I'm probably going to do
Yeah,
it
right.
because I'm like, you're my last line of defense.
You need
of like,
me to talk you out of it.
yeah, like, dude, that's a shitty deal. But you were like, oh, that sounds good. I'm like, okay. I pushed the button like 4 seconds later.
That's awesome, dude.
And I'm tracking it, and it's in Sterling Heights. Now it's at the warehouse, and stupid USPS now has to process it and send it tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it'll be here Thursday, but, this
That's
comes out
awesome.
Friday.
When it comes, sit there and put some pictures up.
I'm going to.
Tag them with this podcast.
I will as
right.
well. No doubt
Awesome.
about it. Yes, sir.
Excellent. All right, you wanna start with Monday Night Raw?
Wrestling was good this week. I
was
thoroughly
good.
enjoyed both. I didn't have to DVR a whole heck of a lot. Didn't have to fast forward through much. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty solid. Let's just kick it off with Raw. So Roman Reigns opens Raw, and he comes down. He thanks everybody. They're all giving him the "You deserve it" chant, and then he continues
Because it is special now that he's completed the trifecta. He's won all the belts.
right, everything but the Universal Championship, but he has won.
The majors.
Yes. So then he continues with an open challenge for the Intercontinental Championship. He's interrupted, however, by The Miz's music, which kind of struck me as odd and weird because The Miz is on location filming.
And the announcers did a good job playing it up, saying, what? We thought The Miz was gone.
Exactly.
But it wasn't The Miz.
It was not The Miz. Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel come out. They introduce Elias as the next challenger for the Intercontinental Championship. So it seems as though Elias will be the new leader for Bo and Curtis. Do you like this?
No. I think it's time, just similar to the Bludgeon Brothers, I don't know if Curtis is legitimately hurt. Let Bo Dallas wrestle. These guys can wrestle.
Yeah.
They can make their own name. So I think right now their role is just to be the lackeys, but I like them in a role now of maybe starting to get some talk on the mic, some vignettes maybe.
They gave them a lot of time.
Let them wrestle now. Let's go.
A lot of time in the beginning of the show and a lot of time towards the middle and end of the show.
Because I'm thinking, dude, these guys are getting paid to do basically nothing. Show up.
Exactly. So then after we have that, we've got a match between Seth Rollins and Cesaro.
Again.
Yeah, again. It was like a lot of copy and paste booking.
Yes.
They then have a pretty good match. Seth ends up winning, and at the end, he invokes the tag team rematch clause for this upcoming week on Raw. Now, what I found interesting, Charlie goes into the ring, and she starts talking to Seth. And I feel like they're planting the seeds for a Shield breakup. And she asks Seth about the boys going their own way. You've got Roman Reigns with the IC belt. Dean Ambrose wasn't there because he's on his honeymoon, and then you got Seth Rollins there. And they're planting the seeds of them having this monstrous breakup. Do you like this? Do you like this direction that they're going?
I like the fact that if you think long term, if that's the direction they're going to do, is they use the Shield reunion to get Roman over to that last step because they just couldn't do it. He was getting booed. He was a guy that was getting jeered, and they didn't really want that. They want him to be the face. So how do you do it? You say, okay, the easiest way is not to do. I mean, the way I would have tried to do it was to actually have him work and work and work to be a face, do things that faces do. But if you have the easy button, have the Shield there, you use it, and now he's over. You're getting some more positive chance. He is actually performing better in the ring. His promos are better.
Seems much more comfortable.
He seems more like the guy that is the face of the company. Sometimes it takes time. If they, when you look at the Shield, the individual wrestlers are bigger than they were 5 years ago, and a guy like Seth Rollins is a star. A guy like Roman Reigns is a star. A guy like Dean Ambrose with the right gimmick, similar to a broken gimmick like Matt Hardy, can be a star. He can be over. He was given time. Now, Dean Ambrose probably of the group needs the most work still because his title reigns in the past were the least memorable, probably of the crew there. So he's got to step it up a little bit, but dude's a worker, so he has that cachet and respect because he's a worker.
I'm glad you bring that up because I kind of want to go on a little bit of a tangent. When Dean Ambrose was champion, do you feel like he just kind of mailed it in? Like, I won my belt, and now I'm on easy street. Because
it's hard.
If you go back to that Stone Cold podcast that they did, it basically sounded like Stone Cold called him out. Was like, you need to work twice as hard now that you're champion. And he was like, what? Like, I just show up.
Exactly.
And I think that was kind of his mentality.
And that kind of permeated. Yeah, you got to learn that when you get the opportunity, it's not just about showing up on television. It's about all the house shows, all the radio appearances, all the podcast appearances, all the things you got to do to snap photos when you show up to the arena. And then, here's the thing. I think that when Vince sits there, he tells those guys that have the belt, look, no matter what, you got to steal the show.
Yeah.
That's your job because when we give you the belt, that kind of is the stamp of you're the guy. And so that's why it's so easy to give it to AJ Styles because you give it to him, he runs with it. He is the best wrestler. And some of the matches that Dean had weren't the best. He had good matches, but in terms of probably when they went to evaluate it, they saw, there are others that are doing much more with less.
I totally agree with you.
But the next go around, I think it'll be better.
I hope so.
I think he'll get another chance. He's got a long career ahead of him. These guys seem like they love the business. They'll be around.
I hope so. All right, so then Kurt Angle makes it official, and we're going to have like 9 Fatal 4-Way matches to establish a new Cruiserweight challenger.
Woo, good for you guys.
At this point, I was like, oh, man, like this is awful. And they do, like, WWE loves their Fatal 4-Way and Fatal 5-Way matches. It's just like, we don't need to see this. Honestly,
I know, but it also helps the wrestlers, too, because I know that they're working hard, too, but sometimes with the schedule, you got to have more tag matches. You got to have some matches where you're not taking as many bumps because in a one-on-one match, if you just count the number of times they fling around and hit them and how many bumps they take, it's a lot.
No, I totally agree with you.
Sometimes I think they do it just to give these guys some rest, too.
And you know what? You know who does a really good job with multi-man matches is New Japan. New Japan does a great job with multi-man matches because they always lead to something. I just feel like with WWE, it's just, all right, hey, you know what? We got a spot. We got to get 4 women in. Let's throw a multi-woman match in. And all right, cool. Done.
Now, enhancement talent, Titus O'Neil has a match. He gets some TV time. Not in a suit. But who's he taking on? Joe's gonna kill you. I wish I'd hear that a little bit more on Raw, but I don't think the fans just kind of have gravitated toward the easy button, which is Joe, Joe, Joe. That's their chant, so that's fine. But Samoa Joe took on Titus O'Neil, and it was okay.
It was a solid match.
It was okay.
I mean, it was a Titus O'Neil match, so you're going to get what you're going to get. Joe is a performer for sure.
He's a star, and he's being pushed right now, so good for him.
Absolutely. After that, we then have a 6-woman tag match with Sasha coming out to the ring alone. They end up playing Mickie James' music and Bayley's music. Neither one of them show, though. Next thing you have Paige, you have Mandy Rose, and Sonya Deville. They all come out. And then they show a video package as Paige cuts this promo. In this video package, Mickie James is injured, and Bayley is injured in the back. So this leads to the 3 of them surrounding the ring with Sasha in it. Paige then goes on to explain her actions from last week and how she's the matriarch of the Women's Revolution. We also find out the new name of the group, which is Absolution. She goes on to say, we are Absolution, the new Women's Revolution. And I'm like, all right, whatever. Sasha then being given the choice to either join the girls or to fight the girls. Sasha chooses to fight. She then hits Paige, and in the end, she's overtaken by the 3 of them as all of them hit their finishing moves. I want to ask you this, because as I watched this, I was like, all right, cool, this is really good, it's a nice build. And I don't think the crowd helped at all. It was a very ornery crowd. I just
silent crowd. I think a lot of fans on Twitter noticed and said, dude, don't come back here anymore. Don't come back to Tennessee, because
it was rough.
I think it was Knoxville, Tennessee, where they were, and it was a horrible crowd. Like, it's like they didn't understand wrestling, or they were just there like, oh, okay, we got some tickets, let's just go see it.
I don't know what was going on. It was not a good crowd.
The SmackDown crowd was a lot better.
It was. But Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville end up cutting a promo during this segment. And I think Mandy Rose did an okay job. But the crowd immediately turned on Sonya Deville.
Yep.
And I thought she handled it well. But my thought was, neither one of these two need to speak right now.
Exactly.
Let them be the heavy. Let them be the muscle. Let them come in. Let them beat up. Let Mandy Rose look pretty, because she like, the more and more I see her, like, she's got an absolutely gorgeous body and a very pretty face. Let Sonya Deville come in. Let her be kind of what Roman Reigns was early on in the Shield. The quiet, I'm going to kill you kind of guy. It just be the muscle. You don't need them to talk.
Exactly. And the reason why it came off so bad is because Paige is so good now.
Yes.
Paige is coming in
She's
strong.
so comfortable.
Comfortable, relaxed, like, okay, like you would say to yourself, man, if this was going on for a year, she'd be really ahead of her game, and she'd be on the level of a Charlotte, because of the fact that now she's on the mic and you believe her. You believe that what she's saying, she's owning what she's saying. Her promos are excellent. And so when you have somebody like that at that level, and then you give it to two rookies who probably are struggling and need to think their way through the script, it comes off that way, and fans kind of know that too.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you're absolutely right. They need to take a back seat, let Paige do the talking. Not everybody needs to do the talking part of the wrestling.
No, they don't.
If you're a great wrestler and your promo needs work on that in the back.
Yeah. And again,
until when you do it, it comes off good.
This is why NXT's there. I'm not exactly sure why they brought these two up. Like, I get it. Mandy Rose looks good and she does an okay job, but Sonya Deville, a little bit early for her. I'm not sure. And again, I find her to be very attractive. I don't know why. And maybe it's because she can put me in a chokehold and choke me out. I'm not sure. Whatever.
So then they go to the Titantron, and we see Bray Wyatt. And I don't know if you got the same thought I did, but I thought, oh, you're going to drop to someone else tonight. Good.
Yeah, right.
Welcome back. Who are you going to drop to tonight?
Welcome back, Bray.
Welcome back. I thought, okay, who are you going to lose to tonight? Was my initial thought because of the way they've used him. But all right, great. Bray Wyatt's back. Joy, great. Where you been?
We end up getting a weird Bray Wyatt promo as he goes to the ring. And thank God Matt Hardy interrupted it. Like,
oh, man.
I ended up getting lost in this promo, and I was like, what is he talking about? He like goes on about how he didn't have a Thanksgiving and how he doesn't get to celebrate holidays. And I'm like, dude, your dad was IRS. Like, he was paid. Like, it's cool, bro. Like, I get it. Don't be weird. Like, sometimes, man, I don't. He perplexes me sometimes. I just kind of check out. Anyways, like I said, he gets interrupted by Matt Hardy. The whole time Hardy's coming down to the ring, and throughout this match, they're basically teasing the broken gimmick. Like, Matt Hardy said this, Matt Hardy's like, something's got to change for Matt Hardy. In the end, Bray Wyatt gets the win. And then Matt has a breakdown in the corner of the ring, and he starts doing his delete, delete, delete. So is it finally here? Do we get the delete? Do we get the broken gimmick? I mean, or is it the awoken gimmick?
Yes.
Where are we going here?
Yeah,
and
were
you surprised by the crowd? Because I felt like, now,
some of them know it, yeah.
A year ago, this was over. This was the most over thing in wrestling. And now I just feel like most of us fans are just kind of like, all right, are you going to do it or are you not going to do it? Because I don't want to be teased anymore.
Yeah, nobody wants to be teased anymore. I think they might end up calling it the awoken gimmick because of whatever the legal matters might be. But it'll be nice to see the transformation of Matt Hardy, and he probably has to be a heel. Probably will be elevated as a bad guy and have some good feuds. And I think that's what Raw needs a little bit. But will the gimmick get over? With the hardcore fans, you'll definitely see it, but I'm kind of a little bit concerned that they might have waited maybe 2 months.
Too long.
2 months, maybe a little bit too long. They probably should have debuted at Survivor Series. That would have been cool, right? Survivor Series is a marquee thing. You sometimes debut new wrestlers. You have surprises. So maybe instead of potentially having Elias versus Hardy and you put Elias over, maybe you just have right in the middle of the card a vignette and you tease the broken character.
You know what? I've seen Matt Hardy at his absolute worst, right? When he was in TNA, he was really going nowhere. His whatever character he was given had run its course, and he debuted this broken gimmick, and I was like, what the hell are we doing? Where are we going with this? And then you give it a couple weeks. Remember how I was really hard on Braun Strowman, and I was crushing Braun Strowman, and then now I'm like the biggest Braun Strowman fan? I think one of those things where it may start slow, and then it'll eventually pick up and come around, but I've seen him sit there and take miracles or just take shit and turn it into miracles, and he can do a phenomenal job. Just hope they give him enough creative control to do what he has to do.
Rich Swann wins the first Fatal 4-Way. He's going to earn himself a spot. It was a decent match, entertaining, but one that I was passively watching.
It was like 19 minutes too long, and the whole match was like 19 minutes. I didn't need to see it.
Exactly. And then we have Elias come out to cap the second hour as he addresses the crowd and does his song. What'd you make of it?
I like this. I thought this was good. I think he messed up a little bit because he had to start all the way over with his song, but I enjoy his interaction with the crowd. I find it to be fun because he gives and he takes with them. And then him bringing in the Miztourage, and man, oh man, to see Curtis Axel on the harmonica, that was fun. It was like a moment where you could see Curtis Axel just kind of relaxing and not having to worry about, what's the script say? What do I have to do? Just got to go out there and just be him. Like, it was like early Curtis Axel before he was overly scripted and overly choreographed. I thought it was nice. I enjoyed this.
And then you have a Roman Reigns match with Elias. And I think what ended up happening was the intended consequences. Elias got over by losing, and Roman Reigns did a great job. I mean, the elbow off the top rope by Elias was super reminiscent of Macho Man. It was like flawlessly to a T. Elias looks strong. He looks like a guy that in a year or two probably could be in that main event picture, but probably in 2018, you're probably looking at the next Intercontinental Champion. Probably should be Elias.
I totally agree with you. I was so surprised by this match.
Nice match, yeah.
I was like, I don't want to see this. And then in the middle, it kind of drug a little bit, but overall, I was really, really impressed.
Great wrestling
with Elias. I thought he did an outstanding job. And you're right, that elbow drop off the top rope, I was like,
flawless.
What?
That was nice, huh?
It was an incredible match.
And that's how you have somebody who loses get over, is that you have them wrestle and do well. And that's what Roman Reigns maybe can start to do, is put over some of these guys. And that was a nice way of elevating Elias by putting him in that matchup.
Exactly. As Roman goes to leave, he's making his way up the entrance ramp. Next thing you know, Samoa Joe comes out.
They renewed that rivalry.
It
was perfect.
Like, he didn't just choke him out once. He
twice.
choked his ass out twice.
I'm looking forward to the feud. Are you?
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's going to be the battle of the Samoans named Joe, and it's going to be cool. I think it's going to be good because, look, Samoa Joe is awesome in the ring, right? And Roman Reigns, I don't care what people say, whether you like him, whether you hate him, I think he's a very good wrestler in the ring. You know, his promos have come along in the last couple months. He seems much more comfortable. He is looking more and more like the complete package, and Samoa Joe is already the complete package. It's going to be fun to watch, I think. After this, we have Asuka, who slaps an armbar on Dana Brooks. It's basically a 5-second match.
That was awesome. What a great way to present it.
Dude, she did this crazy flip, and next thing you know, Dana Brooks is tapping out. It was awesome and unreal.
It made it more funny after Dana Brooke cuts a little cutaway promo there on the television. 5 seconds, and that was that.
Done.
Absolution came out and kind of gave Asuka a pass. They surround the ring, but Asuka's free to leave. But I think that now Asuka's put on notice in the storyline.
Yeah, see, I like this. I find this to be interesting because I think it helps elevate Asuka. You now have a group of women who have come in and they totally run roughshod on all the previous champions, right? Or the last 3 previous champions. Asuka is the biggest name right now in the women's division. She's undefeated. They come out, they surround the ring, and basically they back off. They basically come out and say, hey, we're here. We're going to kick your ass. And then they say, you know what? No. Not right now. Not right now. You go do your thing. I thought it was executed perfectly. After something that was executed so perfectly, we then get Jason Jordan.
Oh,
So you go from being at the highest of highs to Jason Jordan.
yeah.
So he comes out for the main event, or what is supposed to be the main event, and basically tries to explain how his knee is okay and he wasn't using it as an excuse last week. Really and truly, they're doing a really good job of taking you down this slow, winding road of him becoming a heel. Do you enjoy this? I find this to be fun and intriguing. I'm a little bit over Jason Jordan. I almost wish they'd just get there, but I like it because the moment it happens, the moment he turns heel, it's going to be, you're like, yes! Finally! You know what I'm saying? You're going to go all Daniel Bryan. Yes! So
I agree. You want to see a direction. You want to see a turn with his character. But yeah, for me, I'm not invested yet. They just haven't done a good enough job for me to invest in this angle with Jason Jordan. I feel like he should be at the beginning of the card, nowhere near the middle or the end of a show.
I agree with you 100%.
So when that happens, it just doesn't make you interested. But the dude has a look. He seems like he's working out. He's doing his thing. I'd like to see him
he's
have,
very imposing.
I'd like to see him have some more quality matchups.
Kane comes out after Jordan's promo, and he ends up getting a win via countout. Jordan ends up hurting his knee again. Kane then proceeds to beat the living crap out of him until Finn Balor's music hits. And I had no idea at this point where we were going or why we were going in this direction. But Finn comes down, and we have an impromptu match where basically Finn gets some offense in, but again, gets destroyed by Kane. Kane goes to climb the top rope while Finn is essentially wearing a chair like a Christmas ornament around his neck. Braun comes down, and Braun absolutely means business at this time.
And he's serious.
Yes. Kane gives him a good old whack with a chair. Braun no-sells it. And then you have Kane basically begging for forgiveness. But Braun ends up going into business for himself and works Kane over because he wants revenge. They do the throat thing 2 times for to Kane. Now, a couple things that I took out of this, right? Why does Finn have to die again? And does this make Kane and Braun look that much stronger? I don't get why you've got to keep sacrificing Finn Balor.
Well, you have to elevate Kane a certain way, and so you have to elevate him because you're going to have the Battle of Demons at some point. So
I understand it, right? But he came out last week, and he took out Braun, right?
But you still don't respect Kane? I mean, his storied career.
I do.
Kane, the character, is not.
I think Kane's awesome. I think he's interesting. I don't understand why he's got to keep killing Finn. My whole issue with this whole, I don't know, 3-way dance here is Finn keeps dying because Kane's got to look strong to help elevate Braun. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't need to be like that. Kane himself, historically, is an outstanding character who is very strong, right? Why does he have to then kill Finn? Like, you just annihilated Jason Jordan. Okay, cool. Why doesn't Braun just come down then? Why doesn't Braun come out to say? I don't understand what Finn had to do with this entire match. Was he looking for retribution for getting beat up in Tombstone?
I think you and I had some talks in recent past on some podcasts, and we talked about where the company views how over Finn Balor is. And there's only really, right now, there's only a recipe of like maybe 2 or 3 ways to get over. You're really solid on the mic, you have catchphrases, you are an amazing wrestler, or you have an amazing valet or a talking piece that gets you over with the crowd. Okay, but there's another way that's not really talked about a lot, which is the underdog. The role of somebody that keeps getting crushed, week after week, but then when the big time hits, he comes back and wins the match. They did it with Daniel Bryan. They've done it with other wrestlers. So you have these wrestlers get squashed by the bigger guys, and then they overcome it. And so that's why you, I think, have Finn Balor. They're trying to, on some level, try to get him over by showing that, look, this guy can take a beating. He can take ass whoopings week after week. And in the end, when it's time to show up, and I think that's what they're trying to do because they want to elevate him, but they don't feel like right now Finn Balor's spot in the universe is where it needs to be.
It still confuses me. I don't get it.
Well, how would you do it then? How would you do it differently?
I wouldn't sit there and have him killed by Kane 3 times. Like, he's lost to Kane 3 times, and both have been, like, unanimous. Like, he's dead. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I thought they were going in a really good direction because Finn was supposed to challenge Brock for the Universal Galactic Championship of WWE's universe. And you had Heyman come out and cut some really good promos and put Finn over. And I thought you could have did a nice slow build there. Have Finn get over on Joe, right? Because Joe doesn't need to. If Finn beats Joe, it's fine. It's not going to hurt Joe, So there's that. You can have Finn do, I don't know, X, Y, and Z. You don't need to kill the guy. Ends up killing him. The one thing I did like about this entire thing was Kane begging Braun not to hurt him.
Exactly,
because
right?
it was a total heel move. It was great. At this point, Braun is a straight babyface.
The funny part was Kane in the crowd, and the audience is like, oh my God, you got the one guy that was kind of screaming, real lightly, like, Kane, you can do it, you're okay. Yeah. The crowd, when the wrestlers go into the crowd, it is kind of funny, but Kane is a monster, and he needs to be sacrificed to Braun Strowman. Way to keep it going.
I thought Raw was good.
Raw was very solid.
I thought the way it ended, though, kind of limped.
Left you wanting more.
Yes.
Okay.
So then we moved to SmackDown, and instantly we open up with me wanting more because Shane opens SmackDown with his 20-minute promo.
It was only 12, though. I did notice it was only 12 minutes, so it was really good. It was timely. Not too bad, but yes, it's another promo. I'm like, dude, in a reign of like 3 to 4 weeks, you could just mix in a match.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Just mix it up once.
Let's open.
Might even win a week on our podcast.
Right.
Just by having a match to start a wrestling show.
So Daniel Bryan, he ends up calling Daniel Bryan out so he can answer for what he didn't do last week, and that was fire Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. The two end up going back and forth. They come to an understanding. However, Shane adds a stipulation to tonight's main event, which is Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. Shane makes it a no DQ match, and Sami Zayn is barred from ringside, which is a little bit interesting. Next, we have New Day, who comes to the ring with Jimmy and Jey Uso on commentary. Now, the New Day brings pancakes. I found this to be hilarious.
It was good, right?
I want to know what else we could hide in Big E's leotard. Because that dude ends up going over to Jimmy and Jey, who are now faces. They're not heels anymore. Ends up going over to them, and he pulls pancakes and plates out of his leotard, and he pulls out hot syrup, and he gives it to these guys to eat. I was amazed. He was basically holding up his entire pants as he was climbing into the ring because he had so much stuff just hidden in his leotard. It blew my mind. What else can we get in Big E's underwear?
Good stuff, right? Weapons.
Yeah, I guess.
Right?
I thought it was really good. In the end, Gable and Shelton come down. They end up losing to the New Day. It was an okay match. I thought the highlight of this was Big E and him stuffing stuff in his pants.
Yes,
it was great. In a segment that screams of copy and paste booking,
yes,
we then have the Hype Bros taking on the Bludgeon Brothers. This time with the same result, only faster. The Bludgeon Brothers dominate, but Mojo snaps.
It happened.
He snaps and
finally
he beats down Zack Ryder. As he's beating him up, he is screaming, "The Hype Bros are dead." I thought this was cool. Like this, like finally we've gotten what we needed out of this, right? I didn't need to see the Bludgeon Brothers again. I didn't need to see Mojo and Zack Ryder do it again, but it was cool. It was good. You got it. Let's build something here. I want to see you do something with Zack Ryder. I want to see you do something with Mojo. Let's do something.
And what made it good for me was I had thought that the heel would be Zack Ryder.
I did too.
I thought that he would take more of the aggressive role, but you have Mojo Rawley be the aggressor. And I really like Zack Ryder. And, you know, he had his WrestleMania moment a couple years back. Obviously took a turn for the worse for his career with the knee injury, but now he's back. And I'm genuinely excited for the Hype Brothers, the non-Mega Powers breaking up and seeing what they do with their matchup. So they'll probably have a feud couple months prior to the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Again, like you said, I like Zack Ryder too. I think he's really good. Mojo, I think, needs a little bit of work, but maybe they're going to push him. I'm not sure. Bobby Roode ends up challenging Baron Corbin backstage in a promo. Challenges for a U.S. title shot. Baron Corbin quickly rejects him. From there, we move on to Jinder, who comes out with the Singh brothers. As AJ enters the ring, Jinder then attacks him from behind. Styles is beaten pretty good here. I was telling you before we started the show, I legitimately thought Styles was hurt. I absolutely thought he was hurt, but then I'm like, no, it's AJ Styles, and he sells better than anybody in the business. We go to a commercial break. We come back. Styles gets to his feet, and then he attacks the Singh brothers as the bell rings to start a handicap match. AJ ends up winning with the most impressive Styles clash you'll ever see. He's on the second rope. He's got Sunil basically up in the Styles Clash, and then he sits there and drops down onto the other Singh brother. I thought it was awesome. Super impressive.
Awesome move. I was sharing with my wife going, dude, I hope he executes it okay because it's a live show. You have to be a really quality wrestler to make sure you don't break your neck. You were saying you felt bad for the Singh brothers because the one on the bottom got squished by two
guys,
two wrestlers over 200 pounds. So it was a quality move, and week after week, AJ Styles delivers. He looks the part. He looks like the WWE champion. He is definitely holding his own. And hey, you know what? If you want one of the title contenders to be Jinder Mahal, that's fine. You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah,
I'd rather see somebody else, but it's Jinder. You got to keep him strong, and I definitely hope that AJ walks away from this feud with the victory outright. You don't got to give Jinder the belt back.
The one thing you can say is if you have Jinder in a match, AJ is going to make him look good, so you don't have to worry there. That being said, Jinder then takes out his frustration on the Singh brothers. He does two emphatic Colossus. I'm pretty sure I spelled Colossus wrong on the rundown. Whatever. Good luck with spelling that. From there, we end up getting a promo with Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan. They are now known as the Riott Squad. From there, we transition into a 6-woman tag match that has Natty, Charlotte, and Naomi taking on the Riott Squad. Natty ends up leaving early, making this a handicap match. During this match, Naomi gets hurt. Now, I'm not sure if this is a shoot or what this is, but she ends up getting stretchered out, and they immediately called for some medical attention while she was laying on the ground. So I'm not sure if it's real or not. This basically left only Charlotte, who then gets destroyed. Did you enjoy this?
I like when I was thinking during that match was, wow, when Charlotte got her stuff over, I felt like, man, that woman is just so far beyond everybody else in that ring. Everybody, I'm like, this, I understand you want to, highlight other wrestlers as well, and you have to get this Riott Squad group over, but I felt like Charlotte needs to be doing something else. The Riott Squad, they're aggressive, and they came in like, NWO style, trying to run roughshod. They performed okay, but it just, in terms of just stature, Charlotte just looks far and away a much better competitor than these young ladies. And so I felt like maybe too early for a match for those girls.
I agree.
Too early for a match. Just continue to have them run roughshod in the back, couple promos, maybe a little bit too early for the wrestling.
Right. Too early for the wrestling. I think maybe you need to let them get a little bit more comfortable. If they do anything on the mic, it's very short, very sweet, just in and out. That's it. And you just have them basically sniping people, and you just keep it moving. From there, we end up getting a spot with Robo Dasha, Dasha Fuentes, one of my favorite WWE female anchors because she is absolutely atrocious. She's waiting for Randy Orton, and basically she says, "We are here waiting for..."
And he just walks through. He opens the door, and he walks through.
Yeah. Dude, she was awful. It was great.
Main event time.
Well, before that, we ended up with the Saw-themed Fashion Files. Did you find this funny, or did it kind of miss the mark for you?
Felt like he missed the mark. That's why I
missed the mark for me, too.
Eh.
I did not like it. Normally, they're so spot on. Totally missed the mark for me. But you're right. After that, we then have the main event. Kevin Owens heads to the ring, followed by Randy Orton, who goes right into beating Owens. And he ended up beating with multiple kendo sticks, used the steel steps. This goes on for like the first 5 or 7 minutes. Like, he is just
brutal,
working over Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens eventually gets some offense in before they start to just exchange blows. And then Orton starts to lay it in real heavy on Kevin, who ends up retreating through the crowd. Now, at this moment, when he's running through the crowd, I'm like, okay, Sami Zayn's going to jump out of the crowd.
I knew that when they announced it was going to be a no DQ match.
Yeah.
We all knew it.
You were waiting, like, because Sami was barred from ringside, so he could go anywhere else in the arena, just not near the ring. So they end up making their way through the crowd, end up in the back. They end up near the entrance. At this time, Orton is just laying waste to Kevin Owens. Sami Zayn comes out, hits him with a chair in the back of the leg. It ends up buying Kevin Owens a little bit of time. He gets his second win, ends up throwing Orton into the ring, and in the end, Owens ended up taking advantage of it with a frog splash for the win.
It was okay.
This was okay.
Exactly.
Now, I think wrestling this week, it got to the main event, and they just kind of mailed it in.
Exactly. In our Doc and Jock stock watch, we got a couple wrestlers I want to look at in terms of where they're going, but I'm going to propose a trade potentially that could improve both rosters, because I was definitely thinking about a superstar on SmackDown that I want to see on Monday Night Raw.
Who's that?
I want to see Randy Orton on Monday Night Raw. I feel like right now, when I was watching that match with Kevin Owens, SmackDown needs to be the Kevin Owens show. Okay? You don't need Randy Orton there to elevate anybody else. He can do his thing versus these wrestlers. He can run roughshod. It can be his show. Randy Orton now can go because he's a star. Mm-hmm. That dude, I was watching that match and I'm thinking, okay, Randy Orton, he looked pretty good feuding with Roman Reigns. He looked good probably feuding with some of the other guys over there on Monday Night Raw. And I said, okay, I think that's probably what's best for him, because what's he going to do, really? Seriously, he's going to fight Baron Corbin for the U.S. title.
Right.
He's not going to probably go just yet with AJ Styles. So where is the best use for Randy Orton? Monday Night Raw.
So who are you sending back then?
Finn Balor.
Love it. I love it.
Straight up trade, one for one.
I absolutely love it.
Finn Balor for Randy Orton. You switch those two, now we got some things where you can be happy and you can get your Finn Balor kind of going through, maybe even feuding with Kevin Owens again, maybe with Shinsuke, AJ. You just got to do it.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I'd do it in a heartbeat. All right, let's go to the verdict before we go to our superstar power rankings, because we talked about doing that last week. Which one won it for you?
I thought SmackDown was a better show. Overall, I thought that with AJ Styles and the Styles Clash, that singular move was amazing. I felt like the way that they're utilizing the storylines have been progressing, and I just thought the wrestling was a little bit better in that compact show.
I agree with you. I felt like overall SmackDown moved a little bit quicker.
Yes.
I felt like Raw had moments where it was really good, but getting to those moments was a little bit of a struggle. So at this point, SmackDown has come storming back, and it's now 6.5 to 6.5.
Yes, very good.
All right, so this is something you proposed last week. You wanted to talk about how superstars are trending. This week, we've picked 3 superstars, and want to see which direction you feel that they're going. So a guy like Baron Corbin.
I'm not liking the whole, I'm not going to fight you routine. I felt like Bobby Roode called you out. You don't say no, you say sure, and then you knock him out.
Right.
I mean, seriously, it's like you go, okay, you want to establish yourself as a solid heel. I don't like the heel, and they've done it with The Miz in the same exact way, where it's, I'm going to get cheap heat by denying matches. Dude, just say, yeah, I'm going to fight you, then hit him. I mean, seriously, it's wrestling, so you can have a couple movesets in the back, and that way you establish them and you kick off the feud. So you leave Bobby Roode just hanging there. Bobby Roode should either be wrestling or getting wrestled. So I feel like Baron Corbin, in terms of the direction, obviously his watch is up, but they got to utilize him better. I feel like Baron Corbin is a guy in 2018 that, watch out for him. He might have a world title around his waist by the next Survivor Series.
Very possible. I feel the same way with you, right? I feel like his character direction is kind of like but I feel like there is a rocket strapped to his back, and for some reason he's intriguing. So because of all of that, I think he stays the same. I don't think he goes up. I don't think he goes down. I think he's just kind of there right now.
Okay.
Next guy, Rusev.
Down.
I'm
not. I mean, Rusev Day has a cheap laugh, but other than that, where are you going with this guy?
Why do you have him with Aiden English? Is he supposed to elevate Aiden English? What's going on here?
Exactly.
Rusev is a guy who could be a main eventer or a top of the level mid card guy, and you're doing nothing with the guy.
Exactly.
It makes no sense.
I feel like you have a talent there, and I know he's battled injuries. I know that his situation with Lana is complicating things a little bit in terms of her desire to want to wrestle, and the fact is that she can't. And I feel like with a guy like Rusev, exactly, you should elevate him, or at least be a guy that's not going for the cheap laugh. Be the monster.
I totally agree with you. And if you let Rusev just be Rusev, like let him be himself, like let him play the character, but let him incorporate some of his Rusev isms. Is that a word? We're going to make it a word. Let's make it a word.
Rusev-isms.
Yeah. Let him incorporate some of that into his character, because he is a lot of fun. Like, you need to, like I told you before, check him out on Twitter. He's hilarious. All right, Finn Balor. For me, Finn Balor's in the dumpster right now. He is so far down. I'm not sure how you elevate him or how you bring him back.
For me, status quo. I feel like you got a superstar in the waiting. They're kind of doing this slow character development in terms of how they want the fans to view him. I think that Finn Balor, not yet ready to fight the likes of a Brock Lesnar in a mega match. I feel like they need maybe 6 more months or maybe another year of seasoning. So you let them have these feuds on Raw, or you trade him to SmackDown like I want, and then you can probably shoot him to the moon and get him to be a superstar pretty quickly. Finn Balor, they could use him better on Monday Night Raw, but he is featured pretty well. Obviously, the stuff with Kane could be better, but
by featured, do you mean he gets to show up every week and he gets TV time?
He gets TV time,
because I don't feel like he's featured very well. He goes out there and he has to job to Kane.
Well, like I said,
you do realize this is your very first WWE Universal Galactic Mars champion, right? The guy who ended up having to relinquish his title a day later because he was injured by Seth Rollins doing a buckle bomb.
I know it doesn't mean
a side partition.
I know it doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot. For you, it doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot, but the Demon thing with Bray Wyatt was good. The match that he had at SummerSlam, solid. So I feel like he's getting the quality wins in terms of the overall feuds. It's just week to week, you don't like the way that they're squashing him during the television shows. The big matches, he's winning.
It leaves me...
I mean, they let him win versus AJ Styles.
I get it, right? But
doesn't that shoot him to the moon for you?
No, because you come back the very next night and you squash him against Kane. It's so much up and down booking, right? Like, you're absolutely right. He gets the big win, but...
Week to week, you don't like seeing him squashed. That's personal to you.
It's like he wins the war, right? But he loses 9 battles along the way.
But how many wrestlers are entitled to just be the monster? You can't have 9 Braun Strowmans.
I don't need you to be the monster, right? But I need you to sit there and be a little bit more consistent. If you want to set up a good feud, you win a couple, I win a couple, and we have something to fight about. I don't know what he's fighting about with Kane. Kane sat there and just beat him up to beat him up.
Yeah.
Like what's going on here? And he has had no retribution against Kane. Nothing. Like he's I feel like he's going nowhere as a character because he's not paired up with anybody. He's not fighting for anything.
All right, let's end this podcast. Hit me with the news and notes of this week.
I got a lot of news and notes for you.
Hit me with them.
Okay, so update on the Hardy's broken gimmick. So we kind of started to see it on Monday Night Raw. All right, so this is going through more legal jargon and more legal battles, all right? But it will be published for opposition on December 19th. At that time, if TNA/Impact wants to challenge the ownership, they can do so. Otherwise, it will automatically default to Matt Hardy, and then he can do whatever he pleases with it. So kind of the cutoff date here is December 19th. It kind of strikes me as a little bit weird that they would sit there and start to kind of tease the broken gimmick almost 2 to 3 weeks out before this is all said and done. A little bit weird with WWE. Drew McIntyre is going to miss multiple months with a bicep injury he suffered 2 weeks ago at TakeOver. McIntyre was set to come up to the main roster. That's why he dropped the strap. So kind of a little bit of a setback for him. Rumor for Brock Lesnar's opponent at the Royal Rumble. It might be Seth Rollins.
Okay.
Remember, he'd be replacing Finn Balor, who, according to Vince McMahon, is not over enough. That's why you see him getting booked the way he's booked. However, WWE, on their website, they ended up posting a poll asking fans who they want to see Brock Lesnar take on next. Now, this poll had the likes of Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Samoa Joe, Braun Strowman, and so on. They even had a spot for other. The results of this poll have Finn leading with over 60% of the vote. The next closest is Braun Strowman with about 10% of the vote. Now, mind you, Finn's not over enough.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Whatever. This past weekend, WWE held Starrcade, easy for me to say, in Greensboro, North Carolina. Starrcade, if you remember, was a huge WCW event. It was basically their WrestleMania back in the day.
Awful, in my opinion. How are you going to have an event called Starrcade? Make it a house show. Fine. You want to do that? They've done that with New York shows at Madison Square Garden, but you don't even let the average Joe watch it on the WWE Network. How the hell are you going to call something Starrcade with the reverence and some of the matchups that you had? It was the WrestleMania of WCW in December every single year. A lot of great matchups. You want to call it Starrcade for show? No problem. I don't have a problem with that. You don't let WWE Network tape it, or fine, it's been a week after. You don't let us watch it a week later. You don't have to do it live, but come on. How are you going to call something Starrcade? Have Arn Anderson there. Have all the pomp and circumstance. Have the old Dustin Runnels come out, WCW style, at the event, and we don't get to see it. We get to follow it on Twitter. Give me a break. And nonsense. Pure nonsense.
Yeah, like you said, some of the highlights you touched on them. Dustin Reynolds comes out to his old music. He totally pans it, which was cool. And then he talks about his father, Dusty. And Arn Anderson being there, he ends up doing one of the absolute best spine busters to Dolph Ziggler. It's pretty outstanding. But you're right. They didn't televise it. It was just it was a glorified house show in Greensboro, North Carolina.
That you call it Starrcade. Okay.
Yep.
That's how you want to do that? All right, that's fine.
WWE has also named Money in the Bank a co-branded pay-per-view for 2018. They've also gotten rid of the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view.
I think it's smart.
I think so, too.
Yep, cut a pay-per-view, one more, co-branded, no problem. I looked through the schedule. Okay, I'm excited. When's the one coming back to Detroit? And in 2018, there will be no pay-per-view in Detroit. I think it's a little disappointing, but I can understand it if there's a payoff with a bigger event in 2019. And there'll be probably one SmackDown, one Raw featured at LCA. You can't. I mean, you don't foreshadow.
I think they loved it when they were there.
Yeah, so not to have a pay-per-view is fine. The schedule's made in advance. Yes, having less pay-per-views I'm fond of, but this was a business decision as the SmackDown pay-per-views are not performing as well as people would like.
Right. Final note, with all the women being called up, there is a plan being kicked around and being discussed of possibly having a women's Royal Rumble.
Ooh.
Now, whether it takes place at Royal Rumble this year or if it's just a Battle Royal match somewhere later on, there is a discussion for doing this, possibly with 20 women instead of the 30 to 40 men.
Oh, that'd be interesting. I mean, yeah. I mean, in the age of equality, if the men are doing it, why not? I just think the lofty goal that they have, which they keep mentioning, which I don't think they're going to get anywhere near, is I don't see a woman main eventing WrestleMania. I just don't see a women's match just yet that makes me go, yes, you're the match right now. With all the women that have come up, with the way they're doing it, yes, it's more talent. It is a part of the show, a legitimate part of the show. They have their own storylines, but outside of Charlotte, outside of maybe Sasha Banks, outside of maybe the mid-carders, I don't see a WrestleMania. Like right now, AJ Styles, Finn Balor, main event WrestleMania. Brock Lesnar, whoever, main event WrestleMania. Roman Reigns, whoever, main event WrestleMania. I could see 4 other scenarios in which you have guys that are at that level that could main event WrestleMania. But I'm not discounting the women. They're performing. I'm invested. I like the women's Money in the Bank. I like the way the two brands are working together. The women are great, but right now, look at the matchup. I felt like at Survivor Series, Alexa Bliss, Charlotte. Would you put that at the main event of WrestleMania? No. So I think that's a lofty goal. You probably have to develop that superstar. Right now, they're close. Charlotte's right there, but main event WrestleMania, nowhere close.
Yeah, I don't know.
Women's Royal Rumble would be fun to watch. Why not?
It would. I don't know. Like you said, if the women are at the place right now where they could.
They're not. They're not.
Main event WrestleMania.
They're not.
But look, I think Asuka's going to be fun to watch moving forward.
Yeah.
I think Charlotte's exceptional. I think Becky Lynch is outstanding. Sasha's good. And then after that, it's just kind of like...
The women have plateaued. They need to find something to get to the next level.
Paige is good. I'd like to see Paige again in the ring doing something more than just her finish.
Absolution, Riot Squad. We'll see how that plays out. Right now, does that get to the top of the card? I mean, you got to do maybe some more bold things. Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That'd be interesting if Absolution costs a man a title. That'd be interesting if they cross it over and they say, fine, we want to run roughshod over the whole program, cost Roman Reigns a belt and see if they get over. That'd be interesting, right?
That would be interesting.
Kind of have them interrupt the men's matches, or, Samoa Joe is real close to winning and have Absolution take on Samoa Joe and interfere, or not beat him up, but just interfere. It'd be interesting to see what they do with it, but they got to do something different just to spice it up a little bit.
Quick news note. I'm not sure, but it sounds like, and rumors are, TNA/Impact have given up on the broken Matt Hardy gimmick.
Oh,
So I
might come.
I might have some more in the next couple days or so.
Lovely, yes. I feel like WWE probably had the notion that it was coming to this, and it might come. It might be the broken Matt Hardy.
That'll be cool if it is, man. I'd
nice.
be pumped if they can do it and let him be creative like he was.
You got something early 2018 will be fun.
Yeah.
Yes, especially while his brother's out, right? Jeff's on the mend, so you got Matt, and you can send him out in style with the broken gimmick. That's something fun for us to watch as wrestling fans. All right, follow us on our Twitter page at Detroit Podcast. You can follow Adam at Adam RSTROZ. Definitely follow our friends at the BDR Cast, Breaking Down the Ring. They do great live programming every Wednesday, 9 p.m., podcastdetroit.com. Great supporter, love bantering back and forth with them. They definitely are doing some fun things. The most inappropriate wrestling podcast, and we're the most entertaining wrestling podcast around. Maybe start a little feud with them, a little intermingling, a little poking back and forth. Because I listen to them. Maybe we'll poke them a little bit and see if we can kick off a little feud.
They're good. Mikey's good.
All right. Thank you so much for listening to the Doc and Jock Wrestling Podcast. If you like what you're listening to, tell 2, 3, 4 of your friends. Go check out DetroitSportsPodcast.com.